Hello VC, Jeff here. Coming back to you. First time in probably over a week now since I've made my last video. Good news about that is the relief schedule that I've been working for the past 2 weeks is over. So the long hours and extra days with no time off ended sooner than I thought, but I'm not really complaining. So I'm off from today until Wednesday night, so you're probably going to be getting some more material from me here in the near future. Whether that's a warning or coming attractions, it's up to you. Okay. Anyway, this is the latest in a very once-in-a-while type of series called Tales from the Estate Sale. And it's a Saturday as I film this, and my wife and I just got back from an estate sale. So, there were a lot of records in this sale because I found it on estatesales.net, and it was in my area. So we got up bright and early, had our coffee, she drove, and I jumped out, and it turns out I ended up being the first one on the list to be let in. So watched a lot of people crowd around trying to sign up, sign in, and this sale was in a condo, so of course we get, you know, a couple of crusty neighbors, you know, yelling at us, "You're not supposed to park here, you're supposed to park on the side. You're gonna get towed." Yeah, so I just told the lady, "We're good, have a nice day." So bottom line, the sale started at 10 a.m. I got in there first, so I made a beeline for the records. And there were probably 4 or 5 boxes full. And there were a lot of people right behind me who were also looking to get to the records. So I didn't take the time to check each one as I pulled them. I just pulled them. Whatever looked good to me, whatever looked remotely interesting. There were a few in here that I wanted, that I was surprised by, so I just grabbed. And they were only $2 a piece, with the exception of, I think, there were 2 or 3 that were marked especially a little bit more. So what I did was just grab, and I wound up with a stack of 21 records. I think I actually have like 22 or 23 because there's some surprises in here I'm going to be showing you. And there were people jostling around me trying to get at them. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't mean, it wasn't, you know, rude or anything like that. In fact, I was kind of switching around with this other guy who was digging right along next to me. It was friendly, but all that said, I'm glad I got there first because there were several in here that I was very happy to get. I saw the pictures of the sale. So I'm going to show these to you right now. Now these 21. I obviously haven't cleaned anything. They're all going to require cleaning if I'm going to be playing them. Even the good ones are going to need cleaning because everything is dusty. But I did kind of separate out the good ones from the unfortunate not so good ones. But for the price, it was okay to do a blind buy and take a chance. So what I'm going to do now is I separated them out. There's like 8 that are either questionable or just plain no good. But of the others, there's a lot of nice surprises in here. So let's get right to it. I'm going to start with the 8 questionable ones. The Byrds Greatest Hits. I saw this, and of course I immediately thought of Hannah, who's the resident Byrds fan on the VC. And I know I said I wanted to try to get some of their music, so what better place to start than with the Byrds Greatest Hits. And the cover, as you can see, it's in very nice shape. Unfortunately, this cover does not contain the Byrds Greatest Hits record. This is what it does contain. 2 records instead. The first being Going Out of My Head by Little Anthony and the Imperials, which is a pretty heavily scuffed looking record. This one's probably going to be a dud. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I should, whatever I don't want, whatever I'm not really going to keep, I will put aside for you, Steve. Value vinyl, because all vinyl lives matter. I know. But this was the first one that was in the Byrds sleeve. The second one, I don't think you're even going to want, Steve, because it is warped pretty heavily. It's the Four Tops' second album. And you can see right there, there's a warp. There's actually another one right here. It's a little bit less noticeable. Oh, you can see it there. See that warp right there, and then you got that one right there. And this one's got some pretty bad scuffs on it. So chances are these two are going to be duds. If you want the Little Anthony one, Steve, I can always include it. But this was probably the biggest bust of the get, because I was really hoping to get some Byrds. Like I said, I didn't look at these. This is all blind buy. The second one, this is just a hits compilation. WCFL was a Chicago radio station back in the 60s and 70s. I think they folded in the, I want to say like late 70s, maybe early 80s. And this is just a hits collection. It's a double album. And here's the gatefold, and you can see all the DJs right here throughout the day. Dick Biondi is on here. He's probably the most well-known, nationally known DJ of the bunch. But unfortunately, these records, a lot of these don't have inner sleeves, which is probably the #1 reason why they're all scuffed. This is a maybe. I'm gonna have to clean these and see how they sound. But I saw this and I remember WCFL from way back in the day when I was a real little kid. So this is the reason why I grabbed it. This one's a maybe. There were several Ray Charles albums there, and here's one of them, The Blues of Ray Charles. And it is on Hurrah Records, as you can see here. And it does have an inner sleeve, but that did not save it from... I know these records tend to look better on camera than they do in person, but trust me when I say they've got some pretty heavy scuffs on them. So but they're thick, heavy vinyl, so it's going to be a crapshoot on whether it's going to play through or not. But looking at this one, I don't know if you're going to be able to see, it looks like there's a big long scuff, like right here. It doesn't feel like a scratch, but it feels like a pretty heavy scuff. So this one's a maybe. But there were like 3 or 4 Ray Charles albums, and I grabbed them all just because. I'm going through a Ray Charles kick, what can I say? If You Can Believe Your Eyes and Ears by the Moms and the Papas. This is another one that... all the covers on these albums are, across the board, are in pretty decent shape. Unfortunately, the records don't always match the condition of the cover, because you can probably see in the light on this one. Here's another one that it's pretty heavily scuffed. So, but they're heavier vinyl. They're not flimsy Dynaflex crap. So they may play, they may not. So this is another iffy one. And I'm just blowing through these quick because there's a lot to get through. Ray Charles, Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music, Volume 2. I have Volume 1. That's going to be in the good pile. That one turned out to be a lot nicer copy than Volume 2. On the ABC Paramount label. But once again, looking at it in the light, it's pretty heavily scuffed. So I'm going to have to get back to you on a lot of these to see just how good or bad they sound. The Best of the Righteous Brothers. Of course, I saw The Best of the Righteous Brothers, but it does not have You Lost That Love and Feeling, or Unchained Melody, or what was the other big hit? I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's on the Moonglow label. And once again, I just grabbed it to keep it away from somebody else because I like the Righteous Brothers. I'd like to have them on vinyl. I assumed, you know, You Lost That Love and Feeling would be on here, but it wasn't. So it's another maybe. This one I'm pretty sure is going to be a dud. The Supremes, I Hear a Symphony. There were a lot of Motown records in this collection. There was a lot of Stevie Wonder. There were a lot of Supremes albums. There was one or two Marvin Gaye. But again, there's no inner sleeve, and that's probably the #1 reason why. Well, this actually has a plastic bag stuffed in it. But that's the #1 reason why these records get trashed, because it's just rubbing up against that cardboard. So again, it may clean up and play, it may not. So we'll see. And last but not least, I was pretty excited to find this one. Bill Withers, Just As I Am. This is the one that's got Ain't No Sunshine on it. And back. But once again, as you can see, no inner sleeve. So that record is just rubbing. And it almost hurts to take them out to show you. But this is another one that is... looks like it has a lot of fingerprints on it. It doesn't look like it has a lot of heavy scuffs. There's like one on here, but like I say, I don't know. I may end up having to try scrubbing bubbles on some of these to see if they'll clean up good. So we'll see. But I was pretty excited to get this one. This was one of the ones that I was surprised by. So as soon as I saw it, I was just like, give it to me. For $2, it's worth taking a chance on. Okay, now we're going to get to the good stuff. These are all records that look like they just have dust on them. They're not really scuffed or anything like that. And with the exception of some melted candle wax on this cover, which you can see right here, this Bob Dylan album called Saved is in pretty doggone mint condition, dust aside. As you can see, it's on the red Capitol label. And it looks pretty well mint. And I'm kind of going through a Bob Dylan kick here lately along with Ray Charles. I know this album came out at the height of his Christian period. I don't think it was a very highly reviewed album. But when I saw it, I just grabbed it because it's Dylan. So I'll take a listen to it for myself, see how it goes. I think there's one or two songs on here that everybody seems to like, but like I said, I'll give it a go. So this was a good one. I also came across a lot of reggae albums, such as this one here by Bob Marley, called Kaya. You see that here? And Is This Love is on here. I'm just looking at the track list, and this is on the Island label, and it's in very nice shape. It's just dusty. So this should clean up and play very nice. Then the aforementioned Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music Volume 1 by Ray Charles. This actually contains 2 records. It also has Ray Charles' Greatest Hits, which I think I have a copy of already. So I'll play this one. It looks like it's in decent shape and see how it sounds, but this would be a decent VCLT for somebody. Of course, it wouldn't have a cover. That would be the only drawback. No cover. But on to the record in question itself. This one, like I said, it's got dust and fingerprints, but other than that, it looks to be in decent condition. So I was pretty happy about that one, because this was one of the group of Ray Charles albums that were actually pictured in the estate sale listing. So as soon as I saw it, I'm like, that's what I want right there. So pretty happy about that. And then I got yet another Ray Charles one called Have a Smile with Me. Here's the back. Once again, on the ABC Paramount label. And looking at it again, aside from some dust, it doesn't look like there's anything marring the surface of this record at all. So this one should clean up nicely and play very nicely. So I've got a pretty giant dose of Ray Charles here to come. Then I got another reggae album, this one by Jimmy Cliff. It's called Special. Here's the back. A lot of these have the shrink wrap still on them, and a lot of this shrink wrap is very dusty and torn and ripped, so a lot of it is going to come off. And here is just the record on the classic red Columbia label, and aside from, like I said, dust, a few fingerprints here and there, looks like it should play decently. And another reason, these people doing the sale taped these tags onto some of these records with this tape that just rips everything right off. So some of these, there was a couple of covers that don't have shrink on them that they taped them on too, which I'm not too thrilled about, but whatever. See, like this one here, Exodus by Bob Marley and the Wailers. You know, they taped this tag on here. Of course, we can see that it says Bob Marley and the Wailers right on the cover, but they have to put this tag on here. And this one doesn't have shrink wrap on it, and they taped it to the cover. So I'm going to have to try to get this off as gently as I can. But a lot of these do have inner sleeves in them, which does help protect the record. And here is the record. So this one was another good one. Yet another Bob Marley album. This one's called Confrontation. Like I said, there was a pretty large, fairly large group of reggae albums in here. Mostly Bob Marley. You know, I got the one Jimmy Cliff. That was a nice surprise because I like Jimmy Cliff too. This one has Buffalo Soldiers on it. Chant Down Babylon. Just looking at these things real quick, trying to see what I recognize. But once again, you got the early 80s Island Records label. And the record itself is in very nice condition, so happy about that. Now, let's see. Here's another one that has a tag taped to it, but it just taped to the shrink. Every Picture Tells a Story by Rod Stewart. I have this on CD. Be pretty nice to have this on vinyl too, so that's why I grabbed it. And of course, this has Maggie May on it, Mandolin Wind, Reason to Believe, and of course the title track, Every Picture Tells a Story. This is probably most likely an 80s repress, judging by the Mercury label. And I'm just talking out of my ass when I say stuff like this, because of course I haven't researched any of this or looked any of this up. But it looks like when it's got sound savers on the stickers on the front, it's probably a several generation later pressing from the original. So, but still happy to have that one. And yet another. I ripped the tag off of this one, and it took a chunk of the shrink wrap with it, but I got this album by Sheila E. And this one has A Love Bazaar on it. So this is just, here we go. Here's the record with the label. Very nice condition, just needs to be cleaned. So this one should play very nicely. Sheila E. And then they had a bunch of Billy Joel, mostly his 80s albums. And of course, you can see this is taped to the back for some reason. Like, we can't see that it says Billy Joel right here. They have to put a tag right here. All right, I'll stop bitching. Stormfront was the only album by him that I didn't own from the 80s. So this shrink wrap will most likely come off. Here's the back cover. And, of course, the classic red Columbia label that Billy Joel has always had is here, and the record looks like it's in pretty darn good condition. Okay, now we've got a couple of interesting ones. These last three are kind of the gems, or I'm hoping. Farewell to the First Golden Era by the Mamas and the Papas. This one is sealed, so I'm assuming it is in mint condition. I will let you know. I'm already 21 minutes in, otherwise I'd probably rip this off right now and look at it, but I'm going to try and keep this as short as I can, even though I'm failing already. But this was a pleasant surprise. Probably to make up for the other Mamas and Papas that was in less than stellar condition. And then this one here is probably one of the most intriguing of the entire get. Songs for Swingin' Lovers by Frank Sinatra. There's the back. The cover is in very, very nice condition, with the exception of someone writing their name on the back. But other than that, you know, the seams are all in very nice shape. They're not split, with the exception of a dinged corner or two. And the record, you Sinatra experts can tell me, but this looks like a 50s pressing, at least, of this record because of the black label. That's what I'm assuming. And I don't see any stereo markings on it anywhere, so I'm assuming this is in mono. Songs for Swingin' Lovers. The record itself, you know, it needs cleaning. It looks like it's got a few scuffs on it, but the record, it's heavy. It's that heavy 180 gram vinyl, if that's what they used back then, and it's very substantial. So I've found that these records tend to play through scuffs a little bit nicer, even though they may look to be in less than stellar condition. So was pretty surprised to come across this one. I know this is one of his best regarded albums. And I kind of like Frank Sinatra too. I've got In the Wee Small Hours as well, so this will be a nice companion to that. I'll have to let you know how it sounds in due time, but I was pretty happy to get this one. And finally, another one of the most intriguing gets is this album here. It just has a plain white sleeve. It's the Against the Wind album by Bob Seger. As you can see, it looks like it's in fairly decent shape. It looks like it has a few things stuck to it. Hopefully that will come off. But the reason I bought it was because it is signed by Aliotta, Haynes, and Jeremiah. So if you know the song called Lakeshore Drive, it was their one hit. I'm assuming these are legit autographs. I don't know why Aliotta, Haynes, and Jeremiah would sign a Bob Seger record, or if they just signed this cover and someone threw the record in later. I don't know, but I saw it, so I grabbed it. And this one was like 20 bucks. So I took a chance, and I really have no way of finding out if these are legit or not, but I'm just going to pretend they are. So if anybody asks, I'll say, yeah, sure, they're real. I'm assuming they are. So, yeah, kind of interesting to have Against the Wind by Bob Seger signed by Aliotta, Haynes, and Jeremiah. And there you go. That was the haul for today. It was a very good day. The weather was pretty crappy out. It still is. It's very gray and cold and rainy. But I've got a ton of records to clean and play test, so that will be taking up a lot of my time over the next several days because I'll be off. So, thank you all for watching. I'm in the middle of running a contest for my 500 subscribers, and I've already gotten a very nice response. thank you for that. A lot of new subscribers have been making videos, so welcome to the channel. And you still have several more weeks to go if you want to get into that contest. So, yeah, that's going to be it for me for now. Thanks everyone for watching, as this piece of hair won't stop falling on my head like that. Okay, we'll move it out of the way. And that's it. So, till next time, peace everyone. I will see you soon, and have a great weekend.